All right, good morning, everyone. As I'm taking attendance, if you would, get your notebooks out, and I've got some definitions on the board.
Are you recording?
It's
recording.
Yep.
I just had my head.
That's good. And just take a few minutes, write down these definitions. I'll expand it a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. So today we're going to talk a little bit about kind of current events polling, okay, public opinion polls. All right, you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of that in the news, and there's different kinds of polls that we're going to talk about. So do that while I take attendance, okay? Class period that elected officials use a variety of scientific and non-scientific methods to identify public opinion. That in order for a poll to be accurate, it must contain a representative sample and be clearly worded and interpreted accurately, and that polls can be used to craft bills, aid in campaigns, and be a source of news. All right, and then the question that we're going to get: in what ways can public opinion affect government policy? All right. Now, there's different kinds of polls that they can use. All right. A straw poll is an unofficial ballot conducted as a test of opinion. All right. They usually do this, at least in presidential things, in really early in the campaigns. Okay, like they would have done it like last year. Okay, like even like 2022. All right. Normally they're at like a conference, so like you'll see at the convention called CPAC where the Republicans get together, they do a straw poll and see who's the favorite at the time. Okay. A bias sample. What's bias? We talked about bias at the beginning of the year. What's bias?
It's something that will always be leaning towards one way or one thing.
Right. Okay. So in a poll, what do you think a bias would be?
The majority group, like say Republicans or Democrats, it'll be like 75% Democrats and 25%
Right. So when you're looking at polls, you really need to find out you really have to look at bias because you have to, number one, find out who's giving the poll. All right. Is it ABC, CBS, MSNBC, Fox? Okay. Who they ask. Okay. Usually it's a standard number, like 1,000 people, but is there 500 Democrats, 500 Republicans that they ask? Probably not. Okay. So you really have to look at bias. This is really where bias comes in. Push polling are telephone calls disguised as research to aim to persuade large numbers of voters. Okay? Actually had that. Somebody was on the phone yesterday in my class that I was like, what do you, and it was about the TikTok thing. Okay? The legislation in Congress about getting rid of TikTok. That was a poll. An exit poll. Exit poll is a poll of people leaving a polling place, asking how they voted. Okay? So if you go and vote, somebody might be out in the parking lot saying, hey, who'd you vote for? Do you think that's accurate?
No.
Why?
You can just lie to their face.
Right. Or they say, like in my case, I'd say that's really none of your business. Right? Exit polling was something that hurt in 2000 with down here in Florida where we had that nice little thing called the election that lasted until December. But exit polling said this and this and this and that this person won that, and you can't really do that.
Yeah.
It's inaccurate, right? And then random sampling is a type of probability sampling in which the researcher randomly selects a subset of participants from a population. Okay, that's what you should do. Okay, you need a example. You need a big example of people. Okay, you can't just say Republicans or Democrats or Independents or whatever. Okay. All right, I'll let you finish that up real quick, and then I got a little activity for you. I'll give you about 2 minutes. 15 minutes. All right, everybody got these? All right, so I want everybody to stand up.
I look at the surprise every time.
Get you moving a little bit. All right, so yesterday I told you we were going to do this activity called voting with your feet. And no, you're not taking your shoes off. All right. So, everybody know what this is? They've seen this. You've seen this on TikTok, right? Where you like they go and say, you know, do you recognize a song, and you move to one side of the room or the other. Okay. Right. All right. So, this is on. So policymakers make use of polls that can be controversial. If politicians are seen as overly responsive to a poll, they may seem as flip-floppers. Okay, you saw this a lot in 2004 with John Kerry. Okay, he flip-flopped on a lot of issues. You know, he was depending on which way the wind blew. So, what you're going to do is when I give you a statement, if you agree with the statement, you're going to go on this side of the room. Okay, so this side of the TV. If you disagree with the statement, you're going to come over to this side of it. Okay. All right. There's 4 statements. Okay. So the first one. Now these are fictitious. Okay, so the president's press secretary, who's the person who talks to the media, says that the American people get their say every 4 years when they elect the president. They should not expect him to adopt policies based on a poll. Do you agree or disagree? Disagrees this way, agrees that way.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. The president's press secretary says that the American people get their say every 4 years when they elect the president. They should not expect him to adopt policy based on polls.
They should expect me.
Okay, so why do you say agree?
There's a lot of people agree on something doesn't mean it's right.
Okay. Why do you say no?
I say no because I feel like since the people only get their word every 4 years when there's a voting, I feel like if the higher ups were to consider at least taking in what people are saying, that would be better to understand how the people feel.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. This doesn't have to do with this, but are we a democracy?
Yes.
Huh? Are we a democracy? Is the United States a democracy?
Aren't we a democratic republic?
Right.
Yeah.
Democrat, what's the difference?
We elect people to vote for us. Like we have.
Right. We elect representatives to vote for us because we don't sit there and vote on every single thing, right? It would take forever. It takes forever now. Okay? So, yeah, we are not a true democracy. Very good. I'm glad you knew that. All right. Second scenario. All right. Public opinion polls immediately following a school shooting show how strong support for new gun control laws. A senator who has opposed gun control announces he will support some restrictions on gun ownership. Do you agree with that or disagree with that? Public opinion polls immediately following a school shooting show strong support for new gun control laws. A senator who has opposed gun control announces he will support some restrictions on gun ownership. Okay, so
What's the actual question? So,
What?
do you agree
I heard the
with
question again.
So do you agree with him?
changing
Yeah, having some gun control
because of a poll?
because of a poll.
Use of a
Okay.
poll.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's just a poll.
Okay. All right.
I'm not bandwagoning, I promise you.
Okay.
I thought about
Oh, nice.
All right. So I changed your mind. All right. So A few months later, this is this third one. A few months later, public opinion has moderated. The same senator announces he has decided not to vote for the gun control laws. Would you agree with that or disagree with that? So a few months later, the same senator changes his mind, basically.
Yeah, just think about that part.
Yeah, you
not
just
the-
changed mine. It's like it's
Based on polls.
And what did the poll say this time?
So would you, if this senator was your representative, would you trust him in,
no, we because he didn't listen.
would you trust him just because he changed his mind because of somebody said something? Why? Too easy to persuade, right? You have to stick to your convictions sometimes, especially when you're a government official. Okay, last one. Because, just like we said with a regular telephone, does everybody have a cell phone? No. It seems like it, but not everybody has a cell
Hey,
phone. Or not everybody has data,
yeah.
right? Most people do, but there again, are they gonna answer those? No. Okay. All right, so what I want you to do for the next 10, 15 minutes is to, each group is going to come up with a question, okay? A question you would ask somebody, a public opinion poll for this school, okay? Come up with something, look online for some examples, okay? They need to be good questions, okay? I'm going to give you about 10 minutes to do it. I'm going to put the timer on there, and then we'll go over them, and then you guys can vote for which one is the best question, okay? So, timer 10 minutes.
No, I like
All right, so, guys, all right, so someone tell me again what an exit poll is.
It's when
Jason.
A poll of people leaving a polling place asking how they voted.
Okay,
Who they voted.
okay. So do you think exit polls should be used in presidential elections?
No.
No, because I feel like it can go two ways. One, where it turns into external conflict between you and a person because they disagree with you, or it can go away where they just listen to what you say and just vote based on what you say instead of what the actual facts are.
Okay.
I'd say no because there's too many liars out there.
Right.
So it wouldn't be accurate.
And some people just lie because they don't want people to know, right? They're just like, what are we gonna say?
So I say no, right? And my reasoning is people like to kill people for no reason.
It's true.
Think about
It's
it.
true.
If you vote for someone that didn't want you to vote for, America
Well, true.
literally shoot you in the mouth right there.
An American.
Literally politicians.
Hopefully we don't get that. But
It happened with the Popeyes chicken.
But you are correct, kind of. Okay. So you don't exactly know who's asking you these questions, right? More than likely, they're not some neutral person, right? They usually have some sort of agenda, correct? Whether it be, they're wearing a MAGA hat, or they're in a union, or something like that. So your example's a little extreme, because hopefully that will never happen. But I actually was reading a fictitious book where that did happen, where they taken the country over, and there was like a terrorist thing in Poland.
That is not why I was interested.
Anybody say yes, they should be used? No.
Bless you.
So the one advantage of an exit poll would be that you get a little bit of a snapshot, you get an idea of where people are, whether they're telling the truth or not. But really probably shouldn't be used as a media poll or to do scientific stuff. Not very scientific. Okay. that's all for today.
Yeah.